Alyssa the Explorer rents a cabin in the woods, one that apparently has an extra guest inside.
This place is so cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
What the somebody in there with you?
No.
Something scary passes by, a ghost in the window behind her, or perhaps some kind of hunched over figure in robes. I really hope this is computer effects, because if not, she needs to climb out that window fast. Exploring with Darknet is a YouTube channel dedicated to recording abandoned locations in all of their various forms. This time the group finds themselves inside of a large building that looks to have once been a manufacturing plant of some sort. While checking out various pieces of rusted machinery, they can't shake the feeling that they are being watched. Distant phantom lights follow them and snuff out randomly. On the second floor, they come across a room that appears to be strewn with heaps of garbage and adult diapers. At one point, they come across another room containing more trash and a woman's right shoe. The left one is nowhere to be found, so perhaps there was a struggle here. If you can translate the writing on this wall, please let me know what it says and also what language it is in. It might give us some clues as to exactly what happened here, and maybe even make some sense out of what happens next. They then come across a final room on the second floor with a dirty curtain draped across the doorway. They take a peek underneath and are greeted with a final scare. Listen closely again and you can hear someone screaming behind them as they pursue. Their wails echoing off thin corridor walls. If you're eating grapes right now, step away from the bunch. Published by Sam Turner in September of 2015. A close-up of this grape bunch shows that something is growing on it and that something is hatching.
Oh my lord. Oh my it's Ah!
A spider is literally crawling out of the grapes these people purchased from a chain grocery store. The grapes were packaged in plastic. There appears to be a web wrapped around the vine, and the yellow sac spider crawls out of it. Several people in the comments say they found the same thing in their grapes from various grocery stores. Some commenters implied that supermarket staff were somehow responsible. But Pika Pika writes, the grocery store doesn't just insert a free spider. Grapes are scary. It doesn't matter where they're from. I had baby spiders crawling out of my grapes along with supposed mothers. Moral of the story, don't eat expletive grapes. Or I'll add to that, just be mindful when you do.
Spider. Oh my. That's a spider crawling out of our grape.
You may remember me talking about D-Menace in a previous video, but I wanted to give this video a further analysis. To describe D-Menace in short terms, the best would probably be Adrenaline Junkie. First appearing on YouTube in 2018, he has posted a variety of videos from conducting one-breath dives to venturing deep into tight caves. His videos are not for the faint of heart and can distress people with the feats he conducts. He has also posted several urban exploration videos. In June 2020, D ventured into an abandoned malt factory complex with several buildings to explore. All alone, he traveled through the dark and derelict halls. For the first half of the video, nothing particularly strange happens. D ventures through the various passages and even into the basement, finding strange and even beautiful graffiti on the walls. As he approaches the stairs to the basement, he feels apprehension as, in his words, the walls and ceiling begin to resemble the altered state of Silent Hill when it transitions to Otherworld.
I think I reached a really dangerous and scary part here because it's starting to feel and look exactly like in Silent Hill.
After some time, he decides to continue down the depths. Here, he finds a red bed or chair, something that gives him the creeps. Written on it in German is, "Raise your legs and chill." He continues to explore the basement, but is in a constant state of discomfort from the darkness and his mind playing tricks on him. Therefore, he decides to head back upstairs. He then states part of what creeps him out about this place is the lack of wildlife residing in the building. Unlike other places he's explored, he hasn't seen a single bird or rodent since arriving. As he makes his way into the second part of the complex, he begins to feel more anxious, hearing noises around him. He admits he is unaware if it is because he is simply spooked or if there's another person inside with him. Not long after making this statement, D discovers he is, in fact, not alone in the complex. As he is showing the view out the window, a man suddenly and casually walks out from the trees. Completely oblivious, D sees and is recording him. The man walks calmly to the same building D is in, but D is clearly nervous and says he hopes the man does not have ill intent. He then hears the man speaking, but it is unknown to whom. After, D becomes quiet, listening and acting increasingly anxious. Soon he enters a similar room to where he first saw the man walking up and is startled to see a pair of legs on the other side of a hole in the wall. He quickly quiets down and kneels, but realizes the man must have heard him as the legs retreat in the opposite direction. Realizing the risk of this situation, he decides to try and exit the building. However, as he approaches a corner, the man emerges and pushes D to the ground. After some exchanged words, the two men calm down and discover it was a simple misunderstanding. The other individual, named Jonathan, is just another urban explorer who is also unsure of D's intentions. Luckily this time, for both men, neither were there for anything bad and were just wanting to check the place out. D's video is a wake-up call for anyone intending to do their own exploration or even ghost hunts. Abandoned buildings pose all sorts of hazards, mostly from the decaying condition of the structures posing physical hazards. What is often overlooked is the possibility of others in the building who could potentially be living there or committing unsavory deeds away from prying eyes. Both D and Jonathan were justified in their suspicion of each other, and on this occasion were able to laugh it off and even continue to explore the building together. It is likely this made the adventure safe, as the two would now be able to look out for one another in case an accident occurred. It goes as a reminder to how the paranormal is not the only thing to be afraid of on these tours. D was definitely thanking his lucky stars he stumbled across Jonathan, as both explorers decided to head into the basement, as D felt it was better to have company. Down there, they find spray cans, a piece of a bicycle body, and a package. However, down a deep corridor, D finds a bone. While it could be misinterpreted for human, Jonathan points out it doesn't appear to be. On analysis, it more so resembles one someone would give their dog to chew on. Regardless, D decides to leave the bone there. Certainly an adrenaline-inducing adventure this time, and thankfully D made a new friend to explore with. Still goes to show how careful one must be about the place they explore, as well as who might be in it. This short clip captured an eerie figure in an office building at night, published by Emily Durkin in January of 2019. The lights are on in the second floor of this office building, and they're just bright enough to reveal this creepy silhouette. While the YouTuber thinks it's a ghost, the phantom is certainly a small one then. It does look like the silhouette of a human figure, but it stands very still and doesn't move from the frame of the window pane. Do you think this is a ghost? If not, what else might it be? And what the heck are they doing in this office building at night? This one left me with more questions than answers. October of 2017 is when a Canadian YouTuber named Moosey started to experience supernatural problems in his home that were far from normal. Things like spirit sightings and hearing voices. Something is in his house with him, something he can't see and wants gone. One afternoon, Moosey is playing a PS4 game with his brother when the television starts acting up in a way that's been happening far too often lately.
And it's really weird, like, he's been telling me it's been happening all day.
Somebody could have simply turned it off with a remote. His brother Joe isn't holding the remote, but maybe Moosey is. I don't think it was either one of them though, because it looks like somebody unplugged the television, even though they were both across the room.
Guys, what the f? This is what I'm saying. Disconnected again. What's going on?
And when you look again at 4 minutes and 23 seconds, you might be able to see the faintest orb go by his wrist. Since this was made in October, I was thinking maybe this was a Halloween video or something like that, but Moosey's paranormal problems continued well into November. That's when it moved into his room. He claims he can no longer sleep because it feels as if something is watching over him.
Guys, I don't know what's going on. There's just something preventing me.
At 1 minute and 30 seconds, there are bags under his eyes that were not visible in the previous video from a week ago, so I see no reason not to believe what he says.
I was tired. I was like, yeah, you can see bags under my eyes because I get really tired of my house.
After days of no sleep, he now has a plan to cleanse the room. Moosey blends a special root with various household ingredients to make a powdery substance that is believed to keep spirits away. Interestingly enough, the sound on his camera cuts out and this orb appears just outside of his room, so perhaps there is some value in what he's about to do after all. I think it's interesting how the sound cuts off again here, almost like the spirits don't want to hear him finish what he has to say.
Demons, be gone.
Or it could have just been a technical problem uploading the video to YouTube. Anyway, after completing the exorcism, he waits until 3 a.m. before declaring everything is okay. He didn't wait long enough though. This is what happens 5 minutes after 3 a.m.
Free me from all this. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Did you guys hear that?
I really wish he would have thrown open the door here, so we could have seen for ourselves what was on the other side. The fact that he waits for almost a full minute makes me wonder if this really was his nerves betraying him, or just stalling to give his friends time to get off camera. Nothing is in the other room, but if he wanted to prove beyond a doubt that his house was haunted, he should have swallowed his fear and opened the door a bit sooner. Easier said than done, I guess. Moosey did eventually move 2 years later. He and Hype Mike are giving a tour of their new house when it becomes apparent that his paranormal troubles are far from over.
It's obviously Mike. Nick. Whoa!
The knocking comes from behind him, yet no one is at the door. However, in the mirror stands a small hooded figure, or maybe it's just the top of Hype Mike's hat. When they check the camera, the picture becomes garbled by what I suspect is paranormal energy from the same ghost as before. It's found their new address and it wants in. At 8 minutes and 27 seconds, they catch a glimpse of someone running up the stairs. Then they see it in a different monitor right outside of their door before the screen goes white. And that's when what happens in Moosey's old house at 3 a.m. repeats itself. The door somehow locks even though they're on the side with a lock on it. So that's either paranormal or just an oversight in their skit, but I was kind of let down when they show it. I'm sorry, but I absolutely refuse to believe that this person in an all-black spandex outfit is a ghost, so I'm not exactly buying this one, but it doesn't mean that the videos in his old house weren't real, or that this wasn't a crazy fan who got their address. Have you ever received a call from the beyond? TikToker Epic Paranormal posted this video explaining that their mom received a phone call from her uncle. The only problem is, he's passed away. I don't know about you, but that entire clip gave me chills. Many in the comments have similar stories, having received calls from their departed loved ones. Others have a feeling of dread after watching this clip. I can't blame them. If I got a voicemail like this, I would be terrified. This scary moment taken by the McD3 in the Isle of Palms, South Carolina, shows how even a relaxing family vacation at the beach is never truly safe.
Hey, get her out.
The mother has her back turned and misses it, but the father sees a small shark fin and tells her to run away. I don't think the juvenile shark was actively going after them, but what's really scary when you think about it is how the deep sea creature has already gone past before it gets noticed. Had the shark been just a few feet closer to shore, it would have been directly in their path. And we all know that when sharks are surprised, they rely on their teeth to get out of the situation. It doesn't look like anyone else is in the water, but if there is a nearby lifeguard, then I hope they report the shark so they could get everyone to safety. This one's picked up some heat in the Spanish-speaking YouTube community. Posted by Breakman in August of 2020. The creature captured in this video isn't like one you'd want to cross paths with at night. Appearing straight out of A Nightmare Before Christmas, the figure could be described as a cross between a skeleton or a scarecrow, but it's the figure's jerky animated movements that really put the viewer on edge. The long-limbed creature walks joltingly across the road before realizing it's being watched. It whips around abruptly, causing the person filming to drop his camera downward. When he lifts it up again, the scary scarecrow has vanished. What is happening? Is this figure mechanical, remote controlled? Where did it disappear to and why? I think there's a good chance this is CGI, but if that's not the case, then I have no idea how else to explain this. A large rat finds itself trapped in what looks to be the corner of a kitchen. It appears to be at the mercy of the man recording, who to be fair seems to want to cause it no harm to begin with, but as Marcus Goodiron zooms out, you can see to your horror that this is not in a kitchen at all, nor is it on the floor. I guess a large rat climbing your wall isn't exactly the happiest of endings, but it is most definitely unexpected, not to mention a good reason to give the walls a good scrub down. If you saw this on the horizon, you may think some serious stuff is going down. Posted to the Very Spooky Video subreddit by RavenTexX, the Redditor writes, "Is this recent? Looks real." The footage shows a dark and stormy scene with heavy clouds on the horizon, and in their midst a blinding beam of light. The light brightens and recedes more, but stays in the sky for quite some time before zapping out, leaving the night in total and utter darkness. While life forms outside of this planet could very well exist, some Redditors have other explanations. Greg the Chief writes, "It could be a transformer. I worked as an electrician the past few years. I never saw something that size, but electric energy has more power than most people think. Since I'm not an electrician, I wouldn't know for sure, but that sounds like a pretty rational explanation." A YouTuber named Nick makes it clear from the beginning that he does not believe in Bloody Mary in the slightest. He turns the lights off, and then 3 times in a row he sarcastically says,
"Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary." See guys, like I said.
Before he has a chance to finish his sentence, the figure touches him and he falls to the floor. If this was real, exactly how this video was recorded or uploaded remains a mystery, as it looks like Nick might not have pulled through. The Mikey Mike channel encounters a bizarre sighting in the clear blue sky that leaves him freaked out. The creepy moments were also caught on dash cam, so we can have a look too.
The word, in case you missed it, I'll give it to you again right now. It's EASY, E-A-S-Y. Now what you want to do is take that code word EASY and text that.
What the hell?
Number I just gave you for
Where the f*** that just come from?
A bolt of lightning touches down on a sunny day, no rain, hardly any clouds in the sky, and the few hanging around have not even a touch of gray.
There's no clouds here. Look, no clouds. Like it just came from space.
Mikey can't shake the feeling that he's seen something he was never meant to see. This video got me curious, and I was able to find a second one like it, half as long and twice as weird.
Oh, I hope I got that time. I don't know if I did or not.
is in the corner over here.
At 1 second, a flash of lightning touches down without intersecting with a cloud at all. It seems to just literally come out of the blue. I looked up what this was and came across a term called dry lightning that I have heard before but never really studied in depth. This is a name for what happens when precipitation evaporates really fast. It's technically raining, but we just don't notice because rain doesn't reach the ground, but lightning does. These two videos basically mean you can get struck down by a random bolt at any time, even on a nice day. There really is no safe time to stand under trees or by anything metal when you consider that this is apparently a common phenomenon. You might have almost gotten struck by lightning plenty of times without even noticing it because it's silent and you probably weren't looking up. Freaky, right? This man thought he'd get away with it, but he was sorely mistaken. Published by Reolink in July of 2019, the suspect is seen crossing a quiet road at night in June of 2019 at around 3 in the morning. As the vehicle approaches, he hurries across the road and hides under the front end of a parked truck in a driveway. After the vehicle passes, the dude rolls from under the truck and puts his hood on. He then tries to enter the truck because the door is unlocked, but before he can snatch any valuables, the car alarm goes off, undoubtedly waking up the whole neighborhood. And the would-be burglar flees across the street. I think we can all agree this attempt failed miserably. Ron Stevens is ghost hunting in the haunted attic of the Tilly Pierce house, one of the most haunted places in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. This is where a woman named Tilly Pierce fearlessly tended to those in need during one of the most vicious conflicts of American history. The 15-year-old medic had so many units to watch over that not everyone pulled through, and so ghost sightings in this haunted house are not uncommon. It isn't long before a ghost apparently begins exploring the paranormal equipment they've set up on the ground for it to communicate with, including Bob, the motion sensor activated dog, whose nose lights up when anything passes by.
That's pretty bright.
Yeah, it is.
Is someone petting Bob? Can you step away from Bob real quick?
They ask the ghost to step away and it immediately stops, which indicates some kind of intelligent presence is with them in the haunted attic.
Now touch Bob. Thank you.
Oh, I don't think
it's
like a sauna up here compared to... What's that? Oh.
And soon the ghost is playing with other motion detecting equipment too.
There it is again. Oh, thank you.
The more paranormal equipment they put on the ground, the more the ghost seems to want to interact.
Any Pierces here, or anybody that knew the Pierces?
One of the paranormal investigators begins listing names that she's researched, and orbs begin to fall as she does so.
Did you play with Molly or Margaret? Or Tilly?
Followed by a scary scratchy voice that repeats "I did" in a demonic tone. And as they are all adjusting their paranormal equipment, one of the creepy dolls moves by itself, and by that I mean falls over, considering they brought this doll out there specifically for the paranormal to attach themselves to. I wouldn't be surprised if this was the moment a doll possession was caught on tape.
Here, I wanted to show you these. Why isn't someone turning up the
This anxiety-producing deep web video is a collection of strange clips, accompanied by multiple layers of creepy audio. After a while, it becomes increasingly demonic and obsessed with black magic imagery as the jarring audio intensifies. The video also contains multiple languages. I think this part, for example, is both Spanish and Russian. Translate this clip if you can and tell me what's going on here. This could just be an art project, but then again, maybe there's something more devious at work here. It's almost as if this video was made in as many different languages as possible. to corrupt the greatest number of minds at once. Whatever they are saying, however, I'm not exactly sure. What happens when you're on an extreme ghost hunt that goes horribly wrong? Published to YouTube in July of 2020, Simply Sereth can answer that question. He suggests using earphones to get the full effect of what happened to him and his crew when they got trapped in by unseen forces while exploring this bungalow. In the video, they wander through the dark abandoned house. It's raining outside, which adds to the creepy ambiance inside the home with its empty windows and doors. Nearly straight away, they keep hearing noises that makes them jump and search around for the source. The home is nightmarish, with bats or birds swooping down from the ceiling every so often. At one point, at 14 minutes 30 seconds, they hear footsteps above. At another point, there's a loud bang at the end of the hallway they're hovering in. While talking through the spirit box, they feel like something is at the end of the hallway again. They run for a moment, but then stall to talk again to the spirit box. They must have felt trapped like rats as they kept hearing noises on opposite ends of the hallway. But thankfully, they eventually escaped with their lives. But did something else come with them? Some run away from ghosts, others give chase. Posted to the very spooky video subreddit, this mysterious figure appeared on some railroad tracks, and these kids decided to follow it. In the scary video, the figure in white moves, swaying up ahead. As it tries to escape, the group of children that are following it, they get very close, but it moves faster along. They cross a bridge, but the figure still keeps ahead of them. At some point, many of the kids start crying, and the figure moves off the tracks and down a hill, where it vanishes in the darkness. Many in the comments are saying even if the figure isn't a ghost, it is creepy. And they don't trust it. Do you? I certainly don't. An Australian deep-sea fisher named Cavi brings aboard a sea creature he's never seen before. An unknown fish with a face too bizarre to put into words. It's bugging out as much as they are, eyes and tongue ready to burst. It's probably puffing up to scare them, and doesn't look like this all the time, or at least I hope not. Nobody has been able to figure this one out, so maybe you can explain to them what kind of fish this is. Being scared of your attic is a common fear, but the description of this video reads like something straight out of a horror movie script. A man named Charlie says things have been getting weird lately because, if his suspicions are correct, someone living in his attic has been dropping notes for him to read down through the vent. The vent itself has bugs sticking out of it and is just a creepy mess. It's hard to tell what the note actually says, but at 11 seconds you can make out a few typed out letters. When you look at the note from a different angle at 32 seconds, you can see the sentence appears to end with the word 1. That's when things get even weirder. From deeper within the vent, something moves.
This is moving.
I want to say this is all in his head, but the thing is I see it too. A mysterious figure glaring at him from the darkness at 31 seconds. Here it is close up. 2 white eyes and a small humanoid cranium. Not a mouse, not a person. And when he looks up again moments later, the creepy thing is gone. Something has seen Charlie and it knows his fears. 2 friends are live streaming in Malaysia when some of the scariest moments of their lives are caught on camera in front of all of her followers.
Apa tu duk? Scary gila.
Shadows swirl overhead and the door slams shut even though they are the only 2 people home. When she looks back, her friend is no longer the same person who she's always known. If If you look closely, you can see she grabs a cross out of her purse. As soon as she touches the object to her friend's arm, she screams as if the object burns her to the core. A couple other points for my final analysis. When the lights go out at 1 minute and 7 seconds, you can see a shadow person walk into the room. This shadow was caught on live stream and apparently is not special effects. 2, they are listening to some really creepy music before all of this scary stuff happens. It doesn't even sound like a song, just a slowed down chant of some kind. What is this person saying? And is this related to what happened to her friend? She seems very scared when she ends the live stream, and most people seem to agree this video is both paranormal and real. This 6-second video was taken back in 2010 and has been puzzling the YouTube community ever since. A YouTuber named Mark Grove reacts fast and manages to record no less than 3 specters filling the doorway to his living room. A closer look reveals what could be the spirits of a previous family that lived here. The one in the middle appears to be a child with a large adult to the left and a medium-sized teenager to the right. Mark Grove claims to have seen a 4th ghost in this video, but I honestly don't. The one to the far left is apparently just a chair according to the description. So let me know what the 4th one is if you can see it. Jake Atafi is in his living room when someone pulls open the screen door really slowly and just lets it shut. No follow-up knock, no footsteps walking away, nothing. Even his dog is wondering what the deal is. Jake stops recording to check and claims no one was outside. It's creepy, but it's too bad he didn't record out of his window to prove that his house is as haunted as he says it is. No one is safe in this church of demons. Jody from Hunting the Dead enters this very scary church whose entities are highly active.
Can you knock like you just did a moment ago in the direction where I can find you?
They really do seem like they have something to say.
But I'm gonna say a prayer right now, and if there is something truly demonic here,
that something seems urgent.
Do you mind if I'm here?
He hears a wail in the distance. And things start to spin.
Yo, what? Dude, I'm not losing it. That light just came on and that fan just moved a little bit.
Then things light up. When the demons start to whistle, you know it's time to leave.
Yo.
Jody doesn't heed their warnings, and he pays the price.
If there's anything you want to say, speak into my camera. Something scratched me.
What do you think these demons were trying to communicate? Whatever it is, they got their points across. The Camino de la Muerte, or Road of Fate, lies in Bolivia along a 50-mile rocky, narrow downhill road. The pass is so dangerous that the Inter-American Development Bank deemed it the most dangerous in the world in 1995. Somewhere between 200 to 300 people perish each year on this road. In this video, a bus driver attempts to traverse it to his own detriment. The road, which had recently suffered heavy rain, was prone to landslides, making the crossing even riskier business than usual. After ordering his passengers off the bus for safety's sake, they watch in terror as the driver attempts to creep across a very shaky and crumbling stretch of sand and rock, one that should not be crossed. The passengers attempt to help guide him, with one man in the video moving forward to motion that the driver move further away from the edge. It appears as if the bus will be successful in completing this crossing, but suddenly the ground crumbles beneath it and the bus tips, falling over the cliff, through the trees and down the mountain. While it's fortunate that the 50 passengers survived their devastating journey, sadly, their driver did not. A YouTuber named Justin Brown has been seeing odd-looking people living in tents near his hometown in Lompoc, California. He is too nervous to investigate the situation in person, so he sends his drone over for a closer look. Imagine Justin's surprise when he discovers an entire colony of strangers living on a riverbed less than a mile from his home. He has no idea who they are, what they want, or why they are so close to a suburban neighborhood, which doesn't seem particularly special in any way. Also, no one can seem to figure out what this mysterious blinking blue light is. Take a look at the way it keeps flashing persistently and tell me what kind of technology you think it could be. Maybe together we can figure out who lives here and their purpose. There is a demon in this abandoned house, and Dimitri from A Sip of Fear is about to face him. Inside the kitchen, he finds a strange trapdoor in the floor. But before checking out what's down there, the demon tells him he's here.
Я здесь.
Кто ты?
He starts to grow paranoid. And later, a stationary camera captures some activity. The demon seems to be a one-hit wonder. And he tells Dimitri that he's too late. Then the lights go off.
Ответь. Ребят, короче, там походу все отключилось. ПГФ вот так больше не ответил.
Apparently, he's told Dimitri to leave, and this time Dimitri listens. I find the slamming doors were the most intense part of this visit. The demon wouldn't have to tell me twice. I would have left after the first warning. Odd lights hang around shortly after. Gavin Blackshire leaves his property, and he is certain they're supernatural. The lights move over one car and back again. Never breaking their vertical formation. Someone in the comments says that it's just a spiderweb with rain droplets up close. I believe this explanation, but at the same time it's really weird how nothing appears until the moment he leaves. This Poltergeist is not at all timid. Published by JCG Dragon in August of 2019. This scary video was filmed in a haunted home in Argentina. The video shows a bedroom door slamming as hard as it can. The cameraman approaches the door, opens it, and in the opposite room, captures objects being thrown on the floor. assumedly by the same poltergeist. The cameraman enters the room crying in fear. When he turns the corner, there is nothing there, but slamming is heard again.
Ahí a la concha de la lora.
And he turns to find the door from the other room has slammed shut again. And what's worse, the power goes out. It sounds like the camera is dropped to the floor.
Ay, no. Ay, no.
What havoc will now ensue in the darkness? As the video ends there, it's left up to our imaginations, but judging from how these events are playing out, I can't think it's anything good. Abdullah Al-Anbari is followed by what he describes as a ghoul when he explores an old neighborhood that was abandoned long ago. His stalker appears to be a silhouette, even under a high-powered light that brightens everything around it.
Bismillah.
It could be someone wearing long flowing robes, or it could be a shadow person. Maybe it's just me, but the ghoul looks much bigger here at 5 minutes and 54 seconds when he sees it again. When it pokes around the corner at 8 minutes and 3 seconds, it seems much larger than the average sized person. Even from down this long hill, you can see this figure is indeed tall and strong looking too, as it lumbers ahead. It looks like the creature is going to follow him all the way home, if he lets it, so Abdullah recites a phrase, at which point the ghoul recoils from the sacred words, or perhaps more realistically, ducks under the window and is not seen again.
له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه.
Was this all planned, or did a phantom really spontaneously follow him? If something knocks on a door in an abandoned home, don't answer. Published by Indra Saputra Official in March of 2022, this ghost hunter is faced with something that wants in. When he opens the door, Indra finds an empty bathroom. After turning back to the rest of the room, he sees a shadow peeking up over a wall. It slowly pulls down out of sight.
Nggak ada apa-apa. Kita lanjut lagi. Itu apa, Cuk?
When Indra rounds the corner to look, nothing is there. Did the figure manage to creep out soundlessly? Or is Indra facing off with nothing but a shadow? Route 666 in Ohio is well known for all sorts of paranormal sightings, such as hitchhikers without a face and other demonic entities. With this in mind, a YouTuber named The Planet Earth decides to take a long drive down Route 666 at night and records everything with his dash cam. The entire 17-minute video is rife with fear and suspense as this YouTuber thinks he sees something multiple times and bravely stops the car to investigate. One part of the video is particularly concerning. Keep your eyes on the left side and tell me if you see anything weird in the darkness.
Okay. What is that?
I'm not sure if this is just a reflection of a road sign or something, but there appears to be two glowing eyes on the left side of the road. If these are reflective markers, then I'm not sure why someone would bother putting two of them in the middle of nowhere like that. With all of the rumors surrounding Route 666, I wouldn't be surprised if this red pair of eyes belonged to something supernatural, waiting for the next car to break down. A man from an unknown country is checking an old apartment when he is confronted by the spirit of its former inhabitants. First, something whispers behind him in another language, possibly Arabic, followed by movement. Then they slam the door he just walked through and raise the lock in midair, something that a person would not be able to do just from banging really hard on the other side. Orbs are going crazy, although it is pretty dusty in here, Anyway, pay attention to this side of the room. No one is here, yet in moments a paw flies from this direction, and when he turns around you can see the room is completely empty. Phantom figures crouch low behind doorways and promptly disappear, and when he hears these running footsteps overhead, he knows it's time to leave fast. They sound heavy and are heading straight his way. What's beneath your floorboards? This clip was originally posted by TikTok user Unfortunate Existence. The TikToker was replacing her carpets in her home when she came across a secret trap door, captioned, "When you pull the carpet off your floor and find a basement you never knew about." The footage reveals that the secret door led into a secret cellar. Admittedly, the creepiest thing about discovering a hidden room in your home is the question of why that room was kept hidden, but we'll get to that only after we've explored it. The basement is equipped with a set of wooden stairs, so it looks as though its location was known by the past tenant or owner and the basement was used. The TikToker captures her first descent into the secret room on video. There's nothing much in the room but a bucket in one corner, a garbage bag that appears to be empty under the stairs, an old chair and desk behind the stairs, and a disassembled bed frame. There's also a large red liquid splatter on one side of the room, which the TikToker calls a little concerning. She notes that it doesn't smell decent down there. When all appears to be relatively normal, the cellar light suddenly switches on, throwing a wrench into her investigation. Does someone know that she's there? That's more than a little concerning. Two scientists poke and prod at the body of a short, round-bellied humanoid with sharp features and a wide frown. They seem to follow a number of scientific procedures and pull out internal organs one at a time, weighing them on what I think is an old scale. The full video of this procedure is not for the squeamish. Everything looks very clinical, so I think this video has a good chance of being real. A YouTuber named Nellis is exploring a haunted mansion in Bosnia where many people lost their lives during a dark chapter of their nation's history. Active mines dot the surrounding woods, so they have to head straight inside. One of the first things they see is what they think are belts hanging from the ceiling that people could have looped around their neck, though I think they could have been hooks from hanging lamps.
And there's them belts again. Look up there, there's them belts. Do people hang themselves? There's definitely people here. I think they're sat around there.
We see them again up close for a couple of minutes later, and they aren't belts at all, but I still don't know what they were used for. But wait, forget about the ceiling. Look at what's hanging against the wall. Going back to the first clip I mentioned earlier, it seems it was there all along. Dennis of Dark Life is about to encounter an aggressive poltergeist in the house of the witch. His cameras capture everything too. First, something starts messing with the cupboard. The demon then grows a bit more aggressive. He seems to be toying with Dennis. Dennis asks many questions of the spirit, and the spirit responds.
Вас она убила? Она сейчас здесь?
When he asks if the spirit needs help, it answers,
Я могу вам чем-нибудь помочь? Нет.
It seems to be following him.
Это вы? Вы сейчас издаете этот звук?
And the knocking gets louder.
Нет.
Again, the spirit reiterates that no one can help him.
Вам кто-нибудь может помочь? Нет.
And finally, Dennis decides that he's in danger and should leave.
Не боюсь, грозит опасность. Да. Искал опасность и делал удар. В общем, все, друзья, я сейчас собираюсь, попрощаюсь позже, когда уже уйдет.
It's clear that this malevolent spirit is taking no prisoners. If I were Dennis, I'd get out of there too. A YouTuber named Aeromax Music has to walk down the seedy hallway late at night, 6 days a week to get to his apartment. It always gives him a terribly dreadful feeling, so this time he records himself to feel a little safer. The entire time a neighbor is playing some creepy dance music that has a heartbeat and bass turned up loud enough to make the walls shake. You can't hear anything else. And that's precisely why this next part is so scary. Despite the loud music, a woman's frantic laughter is heard next to him in the empty hallway. At this exact moment, a visual disturbance appears in the bottom corner for only a few frames and disappears. Could this be his thumb? When he gets onto the elevator, the music stops and a weird noise can be heard. Is this a creaky gear or a disembodied moan? Basically, do you think these occurrences are all in his head, or is this a hallway that's truly haunted? This group of friends decides to go into an old middle school that's rumored to be haunted. The building has only recently been abandoned, and it's still in relatively good condition, so there's not much to say until they come to one section of the school that's much darker and filled with mold. The group still feels safe in their large numbers down here, and they bravely trudge through a series of musty hallways. They don't see anything out of the ordinary, but when they put the video on YouTube later, somebody points out a possible shadow figure in the distance during this part in particular. I personally think that it could just be stacked debris, but then again, I can somewhat make out the faint outline of a shadow that's roughly the size of a child. The more I look at it, the more I can notice its legs and head in particular. Let me know if you agree, or if you think I'm looking into the situation too deeply. Renato Garcia claims to have had a paranormal encounter while exploring the house of a witch in Brazil. He finds all these empty bottles carefully arranged in a circle in the middle of the room, possibly for a spell, and then the far door opens all by itself. That's when some really bizarre things are caught on camera, things that are weird but possibly not real.
Victim! Sai.
So the door slams shut by itself, which is creepy, but then he says that the bottles fall over by themselves. However, when you play this part in slow motion, you can clearly see his foot kicking them at 1 minute and 21 seconds. It's hard to see because it's dark, but when you look in slow motion, you can definitely see his shoe. With over 4 million views and nearly 80,000 likes at the time of this video, I just had to give my honest analysis and say I have my doubts about this one. If he really is faking this part, then I have trouble believing the rest of this abandoned house exploration is real. Could there be spirits all around us, just out of sight? Posted to the r/paranormal encounters subreddit. One Blueberry336 asks, is this an orb? In the video, her puppy is sitting in his cage on high alert. He starts whining and lays down. Then he starts howling. Mid-howl, a light orb flies by, somehow seeming to alert the dog to its presence. The dog stops his howl and looks right at it. Some in the comments think the pup really does seem to be startled by the orb and think it could possibly be paranormal, but others think it's a puppy and a flying bug. What do you think it is? Remember, animals have a better sense of the paranormal than humans. If you didn't like going to school, this video will validate your feelings. Posted to YouTube by Alan Ubig in June of 2018, the uploader writes, "The ghost of the Victoria School Lagoon was captured on CCTV yesterday at 9 a.m. A man is sweeping the floor, minding his own business, when about 10 feet away, two items which look like standing dustpans glide across the room, moving from one side of the path to the other. No one else is around. The strange thing is that the man cleaning just watches this happen, but doesn't react whatsoever. Maybe he's all too familiar with the Victoria School ghost. Who or what is playing here? Is it something that can be explained, or is this school undoubtedly haunted?" Working car parks aren't the most comfortable places in the light of day, so what happens when you enter an abandoned one in the darkness underground? Published to YouTube by Nellis in August of 2016, this video will make underground car parks seem even more terrifying. Nellis writes, "This is the scariest haunted abandoned place we've ever visited. The car park was in connection to a haunted hotel his crew had visited in Bosnia. He says that this video is even scarier than his two-part series about the hotel. So let's see what's hiding down in this car park." The car park has clearly long been abandoned, overgrown grass at the entrance and rubble inside. As they descend into the pits of creepy, on one wall is a handprint, as though someone smeared something on the wall. It looks like something red. Nellis shines a flashlight into the dark and spots a bag. The crew hears something down in the car park, prompting Nellis to greet the darkness, asking if there's anyone down there to give them a sign.
If there's anyone in here, give us a sign.
A sound is heard, although it's not clear what it could be coming from. He continues to shine his flashlight all along the gap to the car park to see if anything is moving. They hear some more noises, repeated taps.
Wait, did you hear that? Did you hear that?
His friend speaks in Bosnian, likely again questioning whether or not anyone is there. On closer inspection of the underground, they spot a door and recently eaten food. They continue down to the bottom of the incline and throw stuff at the bag they'd seen earlier. While looking deeper into the car park, they don't open the bag, but Nellis says it appeared like someone was sleeping down here or otherwise staying here, as though they found food canisters and towels. As they again hear something in the darkness, they decide it's time to move it on out of there. Nellis says it sounds like something scraping the floor.
Oh my god, I heard something.
Whether human, animal, or something supernatural, leaving this place with only one way out was probably the best course of action. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Project Bad 720, this redditor wrote, "We moved out of our last house because the activity was getting out of hand. Now it's acting up again." The redditor also included that they're in West Texas. Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about. There was certainly some discussion about this video in the comments. Creepy Girl Tia wrote, Sounds like you have brought something that a spirit is attached to, that you brought to your new place, or the spirit is attached to you. And Fiery Witchburn 333 has a similar sentiment saying, the houses aren't haunted, you are, seek help. And the uploader responded saying, I actually believe I am being followed, so this makes sense. Do you think that's what's going on here? Let me know in the comments. I saw a light anomaly, writes Francisco Escamilla after uploading this bizarre ring cam footage to his YouTube channel. He has no idea what this was and is looking for answers, so let's try and help. I think this could actually be paranormal because their dog just so happens to go crazy at the same time. The block is quiet and the dog doesn't really have much to bark at other than this strange moving object. Some dogs will bark at nothing, so that's not necessarily proof. The way this alleged ghost orb slowly moves makes me wonder if this is actually just a bug that was attracted to the porch light, walking across the lens up close to give this strange and spooky effect. Baird Strudwick and his friends are just goofing around at a local trampoline park when they decide it would be funny to cover him in bubble wrap and do some stunts. None of them, not even Baird, expected this gag would almost cost him his life. The green bubble wrap suit definitely looks amusing, but after a while, Baird gets overheated and goes down. They quickly rip the suit off, and Baird says he's feeling okay at first. A little bit later, it becomes obvious that what he's actually feeling is the early onset of heat stroke. Now all of his friends gather around him and try to think of a reasonable plan as Baird sits on a chair with his head hanging low.
No, I didn't feel. I was gonna say you could get like a wet towel. Like,
so you stay out in the cold will help a lot.
You ain't doing too well.
If you guys have like a hand towel, you just like.
About 40 tense minutes pass before Baird finally recovers enough to film an outro for the video. He is still drenched in sweat and looks woozy, but I'm really glad nothing permanent happened. I will admit that I didn't think anything serious would come from this idea, and the sudden turn of events took me by surprise. Hopefully this video will help us all think twice before attempting anything similar. Maxim has returned to an abandoned cellar where a witch hid a doll in a coffin, and he probably should have kept away. Published by Russian channel Paranormal Point in May of 2022, Maxim does a ritual with the doll, lighting it ablaze. And he is told this by a witch. As he prepares to leave his camera in place and go outside, the witch reacts. And before long, things fall apart. After nearly being buried alive, he returns to the cellar to retrieve the items, after which he buries them. The spirit confirms that what he's done is correct.
Ты теперь свободен.
Do you think he's safe now? Me neither. When the passed on are literally beneath your feet, you're bound to step in something. Published to YouTube by Exploring with Eric in May of 2020, Eric visits a graveyard at 3 in the morning in his new series, The Devil's Hour. My objective is to document all sorts of evidence that relates to the paranormal world, whether it be poltergeist activity, any shape or form of apparitions, etc., by using my basic ghost hunting equipment. In this series, you will see myself investigate alone. During the first episode, he gets more than he bargained for. While in the cemetery, Eric finds a mausoleum. After hearing a loud knock during a spirit box session, the glass door closes. He then says he heard someone's voice and he hopes there's no one here messing with him. Just as he decides no one's there, after wandering around the premises, he hears footsteps.
I'm gonna go ahead and show you exactly where I want to show you.
He runs up the stairs to the second floor to see who is there, but there's no one. He notices that the doors are open to the outside. As he shows his viewers a fountain in the middle of the mausoleum, he hears footsteps again. He returns to the inner mausoleum, where the doors are again closed. Finally, he decides to leave and it's standing outside, saying he'll return again at some point. But as he pans around, a large shadow figure moves behind a nearby tree.
It's too much for me right now to handle, and like...
What was that? Is that what's been watching him? It's probably time to say goodbye. Alex Griffin runs a sports channel nowadays, but years ago he was briefly into conducting paranormal investigations at the most haunted places he could find. One such foray was the exploration of Bolivian Church, a place where organs are said to play by themselves and chanting can be heard from inside. There's also the ghost of Katie Borham, a housemaid who was said to have lost her life under mysterious circumstances that could have involved unknowingly ingesting toxic chemicals. Katie is the ghost they are hunting tonight, and so Alex Griffin and his friends logically start exploring the old haunted cemetery for paranormal evidence. They make the mistake of disrespecting her name along the way and start hearing some scary noises soon after.
I don't know what to say. Just shut up, Katie. Katie! What the f? What the f?
The amateur investigators run away at first, but soon agree that they can't leave the mystery unsolved and need to find more paranormal evidence. They return to the cemetery and the bravest of them steps forward to taunt Katie into showing herself.
See? What happened again?
So I didn't see anything, but he senses a ghost and I tend to believe him. After all, he was the one trying to impress his friends the hardest, so I don't think he'd run away like that and risk embarrassing himself unless he was really scared. The paranormal investigators step forward as one, and a single light glows in the woods even when their camera is not shining on it. It's not exactly the best paranormal evidence ever recorded, but the timing is definitely odd and makes you wonder what this light could be. And with their backs turned, the noise returns.
Your slaves and I, mate.
It sounds like one of them would have thrown a rock or something and hits the top of the tin roof. But then again, this is exactly the kind of paranormal activity that this place is known for. It's years later and not one of them stepped forward to take credit for throwing a rock and scaring the group, so maybe this supposed paranormal activity is real after all. He observes the Savannah Theater. This is one of the first videos Redditor background ad 6785 captured there.
Look at how much it slows down.
Yeah.
That's so
and the shape
insane.
is just what threw me off.
Wait, show the...
Never seen that.
Do you see the thing flying around?
Look at how much it slows down.
That's so insane.
Why does it slow down so much? Some in the comments think it's dust or a moth. I do think both theories are likely, but I'd prefer to think there's something more mysterious happening at the Savannah Theater. This video of a girl brushing her teeth is said to have been found behind a dumpster by a nearby worker taking a break. Deep voices on the tape sound like they must have been slowed down, but her toothbrush sounds normal, so I don't know what's going on here at all. After 14 seconds of this, movement is heard off camera, and she is ambushed by something that sounds not of this world. I get the impression that she was not aware that she was being recorded because she never looks at the camera. Maybe it was even taken on the other side of a one-way mirror or through a hole in the wall. A strange creature sighting was caught on camera, moving fast along the Powell River in BC, Canada. The unknown creature was seen by many, but only one witness, a man named Oscar, was fast enough to have captured video evidence of one of the scariest moments of his life. He fully admits what he saw on the lake haunts him to this day. He saw it coming from half a mile away, a mysterious figure moving fast underwater. He says by the time he ran into his RV camper for a camera and came back, it was already moving past him, so he only caught but a few mysterious and unexplained moments on video. On one hand, this does look like something strange and mysterious slithering just beneath the water's surface, like a gigantic sea snake. On the other hand, this video looks like something getting pulled by a boat, a tow line perhaps. The fact that you only see the last 17 seconds is kind of suspicious, but would make sense if he had to run and get a camera. It all depends on how much you believe him. Oscar goes on to explain that this lake is 1,200 feet deep in some areas, and was once connected to vast ancient glaciers where deep-sea channels could have once led to mysterious and unknown creatures. Perhaps this unexplained video is one of these deep-sea creatures coming up for a visit. It sounds like an interesting legend, but I think I would need more video evidence than this to fully believe it. And trust me, if I find more videos about the monster of Powell Lake, I will be sure to analyze them. In the meantime, tell me what you think of his bizarre sighting, especially if you have any idea what this unexplained video could be. Joe Pacini is obsessed with a singer named Sarah Bareilles, and he believes their destiny is to be together forever. He makes a bizarre YouTube video ranting about how members of the occult, the CIA, and the FBI are all working together to frame him and keep this romance from happening.
Clearly these guys want me dead. We're in prison, and there's no way I'm going back to prison. Nope.
The video is hard to understand because of his disjointed, rambling logic, but apparently there was some kind of incident at the local gym, and now a police detective is calling Joe's number.
Hello, my name is Matt Huffnell. I'm a detective with Haverford Township PD. I'm trying to reach Joe Pacini concerning an incident report that was made at the LA Fitness here in Havertown. Joe, could you give me a call at your earliest convenience?
This simple request sends Joe over the edge. Instead of calling the investigator back, Joe makes a series of YouTube videos threatening the investigator along with his entire department.
You want to try to bring me down? I will kill you and your whole family, alright? So go ahead.
Joe switches from calm and collected to yelling and screaming as he tells everyone to back off. He eventually calls the detective back and leaves a message telling him to check out his YouTube channel for more information. The police eventually find Joe driving around and immediately pull his vehicle over. According to their report, Joe backed his car into a cruiser and they took his life immediately. I was never able to find out what happened at the gym, so if you know why the police initially contacted him, then please let me know. Comes from a hotel camera in New York that's near Niagara Falls. Shane Sovar is a hotel manager who claims to have seen a large triangular UFO shoot past, but Shane swears that he is telling the truth. Exactly what the team of UFO investigators had found during their investigation, along with whatever these men were looking for, has never been released to the public. Something is watching Sunny and CJ during this Rando Nautica horror exploration, published in May of 2021. Sunny Deeds writes, on this adventure, CJ and I traveled back to the haunted Pocomoke Forest for another Rando Nautica adventure. We never expected this to happen. The this that Sunny is speaking of unfurls in the darkness. They tell Rando Nautica to bring it on and throw it at us, and are sent by the app to near a cemetery. As Sunny and CJ are outside their vehicle, an eagle-eyed commenter catches hidden people watching them. He writes that one is behind the bent branch over the ditch while the other appears to be recording them back with his or her own camera. Later, you can hear someone walking around if you listen closely. Shortly after, something is being smashed in the distance. That something turns out to be CJ's car window.
What the f was that? What was that?
When the pair return to their vehicle, they find the back window obliterated. It's absolutely shattered with no clear sign as to why. There is a sign, however, as to how. A brick sits amidst the broken glass while the pair scream into the wilderness, asking who's out there. Sonny scans around. Briefly, you can see a light flash in the distance.
It's still cracking or something. Oh my God.
Do we have the answer to who as well? Something is definitely out there, but what he wants, only Rando Nautica knows. This video, taken by a paranormal investigator named Daryl James Godsey in an 1800s California graveyard, might capture the ghost of a child as it rises from its resting place. Daryl sets up the motion camera and gives it a test by waving his arms. As he does so, a long anomaly appears briefly and disappears. Notice how its odd shape seems to connect all the way down to its tombstone, if only ever so briefly, and then it's gone. It might simply be the image of a bug flying close to the lens, but literally 1 second after it's gone, this paranormal detection equipment lights up as soon as it leaves the frame. Are these two back-to-back events pure coincidence or absolutely paranormal? You tell me. If you have a basement in your home, you might want to skip this creepy clip posted to TikTok by Dino Nuggets 741. Something sinister is lurking in this dude's basement. At the beginning of the video, the guy lights something wrapped in his hand, which I assume is sage. Apparently, he already knows that there's an entity inside his home. Some banging is heard coming from the basement.
I know, bud. I'm not afraid, man.
He addresses whatever it is creeping down there and, holding his sage in front of him, opens the door to the stairwell. When he turns on the basement light, the figure steps out of view. The man then heads down to the basement and turns a corner to the large empty room, but nothing is there. You expect the hooded figure to pop out around every corner, but don't worry, there's no jump scare. You might want to worry about this though. When the man scans the room but finds nothing, you hear a strange laugh or cry coming from upstairs. It's not clear if someone else was home with the man at the time, or if that cry came from this creature. Who has somehow managed to maneuver around him, sight unseen, and dive upstairs, but any questions about that are answered when the man rushes back to the stairwell, only to have the upstairs door slammed in his face. Did this demon just trick him into giving up his turf? Looks like the tables have turned. If you're playing hide and seek in the woods, expect to be sought by something sinister. Published by RexyBoy34 in September of 2009, this group was messing around in the woods when they realized they were not alone. The cameraman taking the video scans the ground in the surrounding woods, which look particularly eerie in the afternoon. As the camera pans toward his three friends, someone else is creeping behind them.
What the was that? Behind you. I'm being serious, there was something there. There was. I'm not, there was something there.
A figure in black appears for a moment over one of their shoulders. The cameraman calls attention to the figure, and they all turn around to look, but by the time they do, the figure has disappeared behind a tree in the distance. The group thinks he's kidding around, but I see the figure too. As they all watch the tree for a moment, the figure reappears and takes a stride toward them. We are left filled with screams and confusion. What is this figure after? And why is he stalking them? A Russian police officer is roaming the snowy countryside when he comes in close contact with a creature that has since never been identified. The officer is traveling at a low rate of speed when suddenly something huge dashes across his headlights. The strange figure is only visible for a moment, then it's gone. Many YouTubers suspect this to be a Russian Yeti. Others are sure that it's a man in a suit or even someone who is completely naked, though this theory is hard to believe because a person in Russia would probably freeze to death if they stood outside naked for very long. Look closely and you'll see that whatever it is, it's moving quite fast. It only takes the thing about 5 or 6 steps to fully get away, and I should mention that the snowbanks on both sides of the tracks appear to be very deep. An average sized person would be struggling way more to get over them. Zoom in and you'll see what looks to be white fur hanging off of its body. Also, it looks to be hunched over and its arms almost touch the ground. If this is a costume, it's very convincing. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.